Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. This week, our topic is going to be reading fluency. And today, in this lecture, I am going to be covering specifically screening, diagnosing, and progress monitoring. Why those topics? Well, screening, diagnosing, and progress monitoring are really essential to make sure that students become fluent readers. You all are familiar with words correct per minute. The good news is you can use that method for screening, diagnosing, and progress monitoring. So let's talk about how. Tyndale and Harburg have created a norm scale for you to be able to figure out where is your student reading or where can you expect your student to be at certain times in the semester. Most schools test students. They have a benchmark screening in fall, winter, and spring. So if you're a first grade teacher, you would start the test in the winter semester, and you would expect majority of your students, 50% of your students, read about 23 words per minute. And by the end of the year, you want to shoot for at least 53 words per minute. If they are great readers, they probably will even come up to 101 words per minute. So get familiar with this chart. So you can that will help you to diagnose your readers. So let's talk about it. Screening. What passage do you choose? I would recommend that you choose grade level passages because you want to see where is the student reading compared to their peers. When you're diagnosing, you probably want to choose instructional level passages. So I need you to know what are instructional level passages. When you give a student a passage to read, they should be able to read 90% of the text accurately. That's 1 in 10 words, maybe just one error in 10 words. When you're progress monitoring, the passage you're going to choose is probably a little bit higher than their instructional level. It also depends on their goal. For example, if you have an 8th grader reading at a 5th grade level, I'd probably choose a 6th grade level text to progress monitor and create a goal based on that. So let's look at an example. You have Sam here. He just moved into your class and you notice that he's struggling. You go and you start looking through his files to try to figure out what any information that you can find about Sam, any background information. Now you find out, oh, he doesn't have any files on hand. He was homeschooled. So you decide, I'm going to do some screening assessments. So you choose an 8th grade level text to see where Sam is at in 8th grade level. And you notice that he's frustrated. He's having difficulty decoding. His phrasing and expression are off. You're not even able to get an accurate reading score or even ask any questions on comprehension because he didn't understand anything he read. So you decide, let me go 2 grade levels below. And you find the same thing. He was not even able to read a 6th grade level text. He was frustrated and he's having difficulty with decoding and phrasing. So you decide, okay, let me go another grade lower. And you pick a 5th grade level text. And now you're able to get some data. He was reading 131 words per minute. He made about 8 errors. And he was able to read 94% of the text accurately. So you decide, I'm going to ask him some comprehension questions. And he was able to answer 6 out of those 8 questions correctly. So you have some data here. Now what do you do with this data? You decide you need to diagnose. Now when you're diagnosing a student, I really want you to remember to look at their strengths as well as their needs and then create that goal. So this is where you can use that chart. So you know that he was reading at a 5th grade level. He's reading 3 grades below. And then you use the chart and you see, okay, a 5th grader, he was reading 131. At the end of 5th grade, most of them, 50% of those readers, an average reader, reads about 139 words per minute. Okay, so he is at 131, which is less than 10 words. So that can be his independent reading level. So based on that, you can then start creating goals. So you decide, What else is there? What are his strengths? What underlying skills are missing? Do I need to do some phonics assessment? Does he struggle with any specific words that he's decoding? So you want to start looking at some patterns before you make your goal. And once you make your goal, you can use words correct per minute as a tool. Here's an example of a chart a teacher made. They decided they gave a fluency assessment. They kept track of how many words that they got incorrectly, error words, and then how many words they were able to read. And this is the baseline. She decided to make a vertical line to show where is the student starting instruction, where the intervention, the first intervention started, and they notice, oh, he's progressing. The intervention is working. Then all of a sudden, she notices a decline, and so here's where she might dig deeper, and she might look at the passage. Maybe she saw there are specific decoding words the student didn't get. She decides, I am going to try another intervention, and I'm going to keep track. So progress monitoring using a chart is very useful to give you a picture of whether your intervention is working or not. And once you have about 18 weeks of interventions in place and data, and if it's working, great, the student is progressing towards grade level. If it's not working, that's when you would probably want to refer the student for additional support, whether with a reading specialist or a special education teacher. So here is how often you should intervene or assess, progress monitor. If the students are reading at grade level, great, continue instruction, regular assessments work. If they are reading below grade level, 6 to 12 months below, then you want to progress monitor at least once or twice a month and still keep track to make sure that that student is progressing to reach grade level. Now, if they are reading more than 1 year below grade level, this is the students you want to make sure you progress monitor once a week so that you can make sure that they're getting the support they need to get to grade level. Let's talk about some interventions. Now, your textbook has great research-based interventions. I encourage you to read them. Here are some examples: choral or echo reading, repeated reading, tape readings. I've also put links in Moodle that you can find examples. Be familiar with reading interventions for Tier 1 and Tier 2 and have them in your tool belt. Tier 3 reading approaches, these are more intensive reading. There's the direct instruction, Wilson reading system that uses the Orton-Gillingham method, language, rewards. These are all research-based instruction that have proven to be effective. You can compare them on table 5.7 in your textbook in chapter 5. So please go and look at that. So what do I want you to do next? View those examples on Moodle, reflect, comment on what you've read here so that I can connect with you and know what you're learning. Thank you.